Here are my 3 updated price targets for XCN in 2025, even though nothing I say is financial advice. Now, some people may be wondering, okay, why updated? It's because previously I made a video regarding my price targets for XCN this year, and it was more so centered around XCN reaching the price of 25 cents as the most bullish case scenario. But since then, I thought that was a little bit too conservative, which is why I changed it to $1. And I've been saying that throughout my videos. However, again, in this video, I do want to talk about 3 updated price targets that I have this year. Now, also, people may be wondering, okay, when specifically this year? I'm going to get a little bit later on into that in the video. However, even besides that, my first price target for XCN, which is my worst case, by the way, scenario price target, is going to be XCN at the price of 50 cents. And the reason why is because I think that when it comes to the Onyx protocol, this is something very special. Let me explain why. XCN, aka Onyxcoin, is the native token of the Onyx protocol. People may argue that, hey, the Onyx protocol doesn't have the best adoption out there, doesn't really seem to be making massive moves. And still, even kind of despite that, I do think it's very special because the Onyx protocol is a decentralized blockchain infrastructure that is designed to improve financial services. So in simple terms, basically focus on the same market as XDC, XLM, and XRP. When you take a look at Stellar, Ripple, XDC again, they're focused on what? The global trade and finance market, the payments market. Onyx protocol is pretty much no different. It kind of feels like somewhat a version of them, but then a little bit more watered down because, of course, the attention doesn't seem to be as much as them, but it doesn't really matter because hypothetically, the way you take a look at it, the lower something is, the more room it has to grow. And also take a look at just how massive the market that they're focused on could be, potentially, right? The global trade and finance market is predicted to reach up to $5 trillion in value by 2028, according to Mordor Intelligence. So that's a massive market right there. Even if there's like 50 good players in this space, that's not even quote unquote oversaturated. I mean, there's still a lot of room to eat there. Take a look at, for instance, the car market. Is there only one car brand? It's not like Volvo is the only one that's there. You know what I mean? Volvo, despite not having like 95% market share or something like that, it's still considered very successful. So the way I take a look at it is that if a market is large enough, which the global trade and finance market, I think, is large enough, and I think it can be even bigger in the future. Again, when something is like that, it's going to be very difficult to become oversaturated, if that makes sense. Not to mention, you take a look at the payments market, it's currently valued at over $2 trillion. So when people like to say that, yeah, Onyx isn't going to have this place, I just completely disagree with that. I think that it's going to have its place moving forward. And as of right now, we're seeing XCN hypothetically do very well, much like I predicted. So it's just a small taste, in my opinion, of what's to come in the future. However, even besides that, people may think that, okay, yeah, again, Onyx doesn't have the best adoption. It doesn't necessarily matter in the current state of the crypto space, in my opinion, because people don't necessarily care about current adoption. They more so care about, future potential adoption. Take a look at why Avalanche or Solana or Algorand is so amazing. It's not like their adoption is the best or anything like that, but then people do believe that hypothetically it could be big in the future. Like they think that it could have good future potential adoption, which is why they believe in it. More so, the key factor as of right now that people look for is the narrative. Usually that's the main criteria. It could change though in the next 5-10 years, who knows? But as of right now, it's still that way. And when it comes to Onyx not having the best adoption out there, it doesn't necessarily matter, in my opinion, because again, it has good perceived adoption. And when you take a look at people, sometimes when they believe in XRP and XLM, sometimes they think it's a dinosaur. They want to move on. So usually, what do they move on to? XDC. Also XCN. We're seeing it do very well, right? And not to mention, when people like to say, yeah, we're going to get into XRP, XLM, well, the way I take a look at it is that I'm looking for the quote-unquote, hypothetically, next XRP and next XLM. I'm not going to get that by getting into them right now. So what could hypothetically be something like that in the future? XCN. I'm not saying that it's going to defeat them. By the way, I'm not necessarily saying that. And I don't think it's ever going to defeat like an XRP, for instance. No way, right? However, and just achieving a glimpse of that, I don't see why not. And again, 50 cents, that's my worst case scenario price target for XCN during this bull run. Now, my second price target is going to be 75 cents, which isn't that crazy, by the way. If it were to go to that price, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $23 billion. Kind of peanuts, really, in the grand scheme of things. We've seen BNB reach over $100 billion in market cap. And just take this into perspective. Back in 2023, slightly over 2% of the crypto hacks that happened that year actually occurred on the BNB Smart Chain ecosystem, according to Crypto.com research. Is that good? I don't think so. That's slightly over 2 out of every 100 hacks, again, occurred on there back in 2023. That's not acceptable in my opinion. I mean, come on. So if BNB can reach over $100 billion in market cap at one point back in 2021, I just don't see why this would have a hard time, let's say, reaching around a $23 billion market cap. And keep in mind as well, back in 2021, things weren't that poppin', actually, in my opinion. Or should I say, it could hypothetically not be as poppin' as what we see this time around. Because the reason is, back then, during the peak of that bull run that year, there was roughly around 300 million crypto owners. Now there's over 600 million, according to Crypto.com research. There's going to be hypothetically more FOMO, more buying pressure, more buying volume this time around. Also, not to mention, you take a look at the Bitcoin ETF, the Ethereum ETF, the number of institutional investors, the amount of enterprise adoption, 75 cents. I don't see why not for XCN. However, even besides that, my third and final price target is going to be, of course, $1 when it comes to XCN. And some people may think it's insane. Well, I'm going to disagree with that because, again, like I mentioned, throughout this video, right? When you have over 600 million crypto owners, according to Crypto.com research, when you have that many institutional investors, that much enterprise adoption, when you have the hype for XRP and XLM being at a very massive level, and it's just continuing to grow, and a lot of it is trickling down to other projects, much like XCN and XDC, man, I just don't see why $1 would be too crazy. Keep in mind, again, at the price of $1, a market cap would be around $30 billion, or should I say almost $31 billion considering current circulating supply. But again, that's peanuts. We've seen, again, BNB reach over 100 billion, Dogecoin reach over 80 billion at one point back in 2021. Also that year, Shiba Inu reached around 40 billion. I think this is kind of like peanuts in the grand scheme of things, especially again when I consider the trajectory of the payments market and the global trade and finance market, which I mentioned earlier in the video, and also the hype for Ripple and Stellar. Yeah, I just don't see why not. Now, people may be thinking, okay, when exactly in 2025? Usually altcoins, as a worst case scenario, they peak around a year and a half after a Bitcoin halving event. The last Bitcoin halving event happened back in April of last year, so 18 months or quote unquote a year and a half. That would be around October this year. So that's the kind of time frame I'm looking at. Now, this is not a guaranteed date, but I think 2025 could be a very special year. Only time will tell. Historically, as a worst case, this could very well be the case. Again, I'm not guaranteeing anything. However, I think it does give a good benchmark. Maybe it happens later. Who knows? Maybe a little bit earlier, which would be awesome. But whatever the case may be, I think 2025 could be so special because just imagine, of course I'm making this video in February, but take a look at what something like XCN could hypothetically be, let's say once April comes along, May, June, July. I can't guarantee anything. I'm not going to be 100% correct in my opinion. However, I think hypothetically it could be great. Who knows? But I'm very excited, and that's why anytime I do earn income, I'm dollar cost averaging, acquiring, holding, and just waiting. That's it. I think better days are ahead. I'm not going to be day trading or using leverage when it comes to any cryptocurrency that I own. And I just like to keep things simple. $1, that wouldn't surprise me whatsoever for XCN during this bull run. And make sure to subscribe if you gained value from this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.